My supervisor just gave me like a very thick book for me to read, and he asked me to write a report, a weekly report, to see how much progress I made. When you find the solution of some of your problems, then that's a very, very good relief. And nobody wants to be stuck on a calculation for 3 months.
I'm Ant, and it's an honor for me today to be joined by Hosana Ranaivomanana. Hosana holds a PhD degree in mathematics. She grew up in Madagascar in a low-income family and underdeveloped community with limited access to basic educational supplies. She has personally experienced a lack of educational resources herself and has had to fight against poverty and cultural beliefs in order to achieve her goal. Hosan is now a postdoctoral researcher at Stellenbosch University. With her family, she runs the non-profit high school Mamelasoa at Ambatfutsga in Madagascar. Hosan is in charge of finding key investors and partners for Mamelasoa High School, as well as managing the website and the language laboratory. Hosan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so tell us about your academic journey.
Okay, my journey was long. So at first, I was put to a sort of nursery, um, a Kansas. That's when I started. And then my family put me, like my parents put me to a Catholic school close to our place, Saint Chantal. And after that, we had to move because my mom was accepted for a job in Apangabe, at Apangabe. So we moved there. So I studied there then, part of my primary school. But then we moved back to town. Um, then uh, they put me, this time around, they put me in a French speaking school. So I finished my primary school there. Then after that, I went to CEG Timbazaza for my secondary school, and then after that, high school, lycée moderne Peflu, LMA. After LMA, I went to the University of Antananarivo, and that's where I did my undergraduate studies. After I got my Master 1 in pure mathematics, specialized in algebra, geometry, and number theory. Then I got a scholarship to go to Ames for a structured master's. That was for 10 months. My essay back then was on topological quantum field theory. After that, I got a scholarship to carry on with my master's at Stellenbosch University. Um, and I was doing algebraic topology back then, specifically working on the RAM cohomologies. And then for my PhD, I also received a scholarship, DAD scholarship, for my PhD. And so I carried on with my PhD, but this time round, my topic was more towards topology and geometry / mathematical physics. And now I am here as a postdoctoral researcher. Um, I am doing my research is more focused on mathematical biology, but um, but via the pure mathematics way. Like I am attacking the problem from pure mathematics tools. Yes.
Okay, so tell us when and how did you choose to focus on mathematics?
From the start, I wanted to be a scientist. Um, I don't know physics, that's for sure. And my my father did natural sciences at the university, and he always complained about how much they had to memorize things and so on and so forth. And I said to myself, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do natural sciences. So the only option was mathematics. And I actually liked the fact that yes, there are rules, but you can just as long as you follow the rules, you can just find your way out. There is no strict rules that you have to follow. So you can, if you want to go from point A to point B, then of course that's the rule that, okay, maybe it's a continuous path. There are several paths to get there, and I liked that. And also geometry captured me very much.
So, who did you go to for help in taking the next step in your career and aspirations?
I I am pretty independent, but there was when I was in second year at the university, no, third year at the university. So my goal since was to be a teacher because I like teaching, but I didn't want to be a teacher at high school because I didn't like how much they got paid. So from there, I wanted to become a lecturer, right? Yeah.
Okay,
So
makes sense.
if if I had to teach, then I better become a lecturer, not a teacher at high school. So that's the first. I think that's what brought me to where I am here now. Like I was very focused on getting a PhD. Um, but on the way, of course, there are hurdles that we have to overcome. So in my third year, there was one lecturer. He, I was really down, and he decided to come and tell me that he had books to help me out. So I got books from him. But then there was also another lecturer in topology. He 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 was very good, I would say, and 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 I liked his way of lecturing. He was very detailed. He goes deep in what he's doing, and you can really see the beauty of what you're doing. So I really like that. So I said to myself, if I am to do a research, then I want to do research with this guy. So my love for topology maybe started from there.
So, mathematics is commonly known as being difficult. What were your studying strategies and techniques?
Okay. I think my techniques was I don't study to get marks, to get good marks. I study to understand. Yeah. I, of course, at school, I didn't do very well. Like my marks were not very well. But if I was asked to teach what I learned, what I knew, then I would have been able to teach that. Yeah. And also you need to do the exercises.
Yeah. Tell us about your experience at Ankatso.
I would say because my family didn't have that much money, sometimes um, sometimes we go hungry, right? And I don't think I am the only person who has experienced that. And also we don't like, at least myself, I didn't have a laptop until, yeah, I didn't have a laptop. So I didn't really knew anything. No, I didn't really know anything about internet or anything like that. So I was just using my brain to solve any kind of exercise or question or something like that. Sometimes the lectures would not go into details, then I would really struggle because, um, yeah. But then some lecturers would give like very nice classes. So yeah, that was fine. But like the fact of going like downhill and then running back up to attend another class because the university is at the top of a mountain and one classroom is down like at the bottom of the mountain, and then running from the bottom to the top. um yeah, that was quite challenging, but it was fun. Yeah, it was fun.
Now, can you tell us about your English journey? How did you learn English?
Well, uh, good question again. So at school, I never skipped English. At the back of my head, I had the feeling that I was going to use it later. Okay. So all the basic English that we did at school, I did it. I did it properly, but then it's still not enough, right? For us to be able to speak and so on. So I didn't really take any classes, any English classes per se. But once I arrived in South Africa at Ames, it's only then I started speaking English. It was very bad. I didn't understand, and I couldn't speak. I could only, okay, I will think for a very long time to be able to respond to somebody's question, and I would always ask, "Can you repeat, please?" But then one of my goals when I arrived at Ames was to be good at English, at least to improve my English. So for that, I would schedule 1 hour every day just to watch a movie in English. Yes, so every single day, an hour before I go to sleep, I would watch a movie, and I was mingling with the English speaking people.
Do you have some movie recommendations for English learners then?
There is there is a very popular one, Mind Your Language, and then there was another one recommended by my lecturer back home. It was The Terminal, but then I loved Prison Break, so I watched Prison Break, and I also loved The Mentalist. Those are mostly series, so I loved The Mentalist. So I watched The Mentalist every day.
Oh, okay. And
Yes,
that helped a lot.
Yeah, it did. It did. Along with the colleagues and peers, like helping correct correcting my grammar and so on.
Okay, so tell us a bit about the PhD program at Stellenbosch. Like, how is it different from your experience in Madagascar, and what's the difference between that and your experience at Ames, and like your master's? Like, how is the PhD program different than all of those?
Um, okay. So if I compare it from back home to start with, uh, I would say a PhD program back home is more flexible because they don't have grants. So you have to work at the same time, right? So it can take many years before you can actually graduate. Here, because of bursaries and scholarships, you only have like so you so the amount of time that they give at the start is 3 years. So you are supposed to finish your PhD in 3 years, and then but then if you can't finish it, then you can ask for extensions. So you can ask for another 3 years to be able to finish it. But if you still don't finish during the time that is given, they might kick you out of the university. Yeah. So here there isn't any coursework that you are required to do. So you start with research from the start, but you can attend classes if you want to, but they will not be graded. There won't be any exam. It's just for your knowledge. Um, yeah, so you just start with research, and it's not required that you publish something before you graduate. That's not the requirement. It only requires that your work is publishable, even if you didn't publish it during your year of PhD. Yeah.
So, what was your PhD topic, and why did you choose it?
My topic was on uh, mm, quantum 6J symbols. It was so my PhD has two different but linked subtopics. So the first one is the reciprocity of the Wigner derivative. The Wigner derivative is if let's say you have a spherical triangle. If let's say you have a triangle and then you move one edge, and then how does that moving of like change the length of one edge a little bit, and how does that affect the angle? Okay, so that's basically what the Wigner derivative is. But I was doing it for spherical tetrahedra, which is in 4 dimension. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part was on an integral formula for the quantum 6J symbols. Quantum, like if we take the category of representations of SU2, and then we have the morphisms in that category. Okay, irreducible representation. The morphisms in that category of form a vector space, and then So if you have a vector space, then you have a basis, basically. So, and there are two bases for that vector space, and then the change of bases between those two vector space is called the classical 6J symbol. So my PhD was about to investigate the quantum version of that classical 6J symbol, and then look for the integral formula for that. Because, like, for example, if we have 2 can be written as 1 plus 1, right? But then 2 can also be written as the integral from 0 to 2 dx. And that's a more geometric way of looking at 2. So that's why it's more of topology and geometry. I didn't come up with the topic. It was my supervisor who suggested it to me. And I love geometry. I love topology. I was just like, I am in. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about the experience doing the PhD research itself. What were the challenges? What are like the good memories?
Okay. Let me start with the good memories.
Okay.
So the good memories is like when you find the solution of some of your problems, then that's a very, very good relief. And the happiness, you can't measure the happiness. Yeah, and my supervisor was super cool. He is a very kind person, very human. Um, yeah, so those are good memories. And he taught me a lot of things, not only academically, but even the strategy, how you should go about problems, or how you should go about administration or something like that. So he would be very, very helpful. Uh, the struggle, the struggle now is that I remember um, at some point there was one calculation that didn't want to come out at all, like at all. I think I was stuck on it for like 3 months. Nobody wants to be
Wow.
stuck on a calculation for 3 months. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, I am, I would say I am very focused. My brain before the PhD used to work on a linear, not really linear, but work in one dimension, if I may say. So if I am doing one task, then I will focus on it until it's finished before I move on to the other task. But PhD taught me something else. I had to juggle between um, doing my simulation. So Mathematica was the language that I used. I didn't know Mathematica. My supervisor just gave me like a very thick book for me to read. And he
Wow.
asked me to write a report, a weekly report, to see how much progress I made with Mathematica.
Wow.
So, so he just gave me that book, and then he said, "You learn Mathematica." So, and then I had to learn Mathematica. I had to learn geometry, and then along the way, I don't necessarily like calculations, but I had to do a lot of calculation. um, yeah, yeah. But the most beautiful thing is the connection between everything. Like you can find algebra there, and then you can, then from algebra you go to analysis, and then from analysis you go to topology, and then from topology you go to geometry, and that I find it very, very beautiful, and I like it very much. Yeah, it comes with its challenges,
Yeah.
but it comes with its beauty as well.
Okay, so would you tell us about the writing process? Like, how did you write your thesis and like research papers?
I I would say I just like research. Even when I was in my second year, during my holiday, I would feel very bored. So I would go and find a problem. Then I would try to solve it, mathematical
Wow.
problem. Then I would try to solve it during the holiday. Then I would find like a way, a new way, without even consulting books or anything. So I would find a way to solve it on my own. Then I would be very happy. Um, so I just love research, right? And I wouldn't be bored at all to do research, right? But I don't like writing, and I don't like reading that much. Okay.
Oh,
So that
okay.
was the
Yeah.
challenge. That was the challenge that I had to face. The writing, yeah, we had to go back and forth, which is not necessarily nice. The paper, I got the result. Finding the result is very rewarding, but then to make it into a paper,
Mm-hmm.
that's another problem.
Yeah, because yeah, feels like the fun is already gone.
Yes, the fun is gone because there are also the requirements of the journal. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole process.
So, do you have like some advices, some pieces of advice for students writing their thesis or starting writing their research papers?
So for me, like the way I work is I do the research first before I start writing anything. Because if I don't have the outcome, I wouldn't even know how to write the introduction or something like that, right? But at the same time, I would advise, if you are writing a thesis, if you wait until the end, then that's problematic. So you need to be able to gauge, like, when should I start writing, and it takes around 6 months to write up a thesis. Okay, it takes about 6 months to write a thesis. So yeah, you should. I would say once you feel like, okay, you are tired of research, go write. But what I used to do was, I wouldn't write it like in details at first, but I would write down the main points, like what should go in there, and where can I find it, right? So I would say that when you are doing your research, just make sure to take notes of where do you find what. That will help you a lot in your writing. because I remember that like at first I was struggling with that because I am just like checking online, checking all those papers, and now I was completely lost. Like I didn't know anymore where to find what. Because at some point the number of papers that you are going to read is a lot. So yeah. And one thing that my supervisor taught me was to always record your progress in a copybook or on a pile of papers or something, but you just need to record it. So I used to do like, if for example I do something today, then I would write the date, and then I would do my thing. And that would help me, and it also helps with anxiety, because sometimes we think that, like as researchers, we think that we are not making any progress, we didn't do anything today, and then we feel guilty, and then we feel low, we don't have energy, and so on and so forth. But that will help a lot to see that, okay, I am actually making some progress and I've done something today, so I can go to sleep nicely tonight. And it helps with the writing. Yeah, it does really help with the writing.
When you were working toward your PhD, you were in a cohort. Tell us about your time management techniques.
It requires discipline to start with. You have to have discipline. And I think being involved in extracurricular activities helps with managing your time. And at the same time, it's not very good. I wouldn't advise to always do research like from morning to till evening or something like that. I wouldn't advise that. Maybe find something in between to do, because your brain is going to be so exhausted, and then you won't have energy to carry on with the rest anymore, and you will feel very stressed and burnt out, and so on and so forth. So I would say doing um, having different activities, I mean, along with research helps. If you do something that you like, you will find time for it. That's that's what I did. If I wanted to do something that I like, I will find time for it. So maybe if you don't like to do your research, maybe ask the question again. Like, do I really like this? Am I wasting my time here?
What are the major differences between working on a PhD and being a postdoctoral researcher?
I feel like doing a postdoc is, I feel like it's like working in a company. You are expected to deliver. And it doesn't matter how difficult it is. Do you have the resources that you need? It Those don't matter. Okay. So at the end of the day, the only thing that you are asked for is that you are asked to do is to deliver. What do I mean by deliver? Uh, write a paper or many papers. Like for instance, I am asked to deliver 2 papers per year, and your host is a host. He is not a supervisor, so your host is just there. Like depending on the host as well. Some hosts are involved, some are not involved. But yeah. during like PhD. PhD is more like having a supervisor. My supervisor told me that a supervisor is also an advisor. He is called to be an advisor, and he's there, like your supervisor is there to help you to get where you need to get, where you need to go, right? But a host is not like that.
How is the relationship with the host then?
It depends on the host actually, because some hosts are involved, like they want to be part of the research. Some hosts don't want to be part of the research, so they will just leave you on your own. Um, yeah, but it really depends on the host. Like, yeah, so at the start you need to make sure to understand what the host wants from you. Like, what is the contract of work, like the work contract, basically. And I think for postdocs as well, because you are not a researcher, you are not a student anymore, then you have to look for your own grants, own funding if you want to go to conferences. And I mean, at least in Stellenbosch,
Wow.
it's like that. So the rule here is that unless you are going to a conference to present a paper, they are not going to fund. So if I want to attend a conference, then I will have to find my own grant and all that.
And how difficult is that?
Well, I would say it is difficult if we don't interact with different people. Um, networking is key, because people can't also just give grants to people who they don't know. Like, most of the time
Yeah.
you will have to have a sort of connection somewhere, and then that connection backs you up. Yeah, I would encourage every postgraduate student to network.
Thank you for telling us about your academic journey. Let's now move to talk about Mamelasoa High School. Can you share with us the story behind the creation of the school?
So Mamelasoa High School um, was created because my father grew up at Ambatfutscara somehow, and he has served as the right hand of the mayor for like uh, 20 years, I would say. Um, and he has served, like he has taught at different schools around there, around Ambatfuts. But then it is so sad that the quality of education is so poor. Um, so it was heavy in his heart that he should do something about it, right? So they decided with my mom that okay, they are going to start the school, and that school will deliver at least a decent quality of education. But the community can't afford, like most of the parents can't afford to pay a lot of money for schooling. Then they decided, okay, we are just going to start the school, and the money that we get is basically the money that is going to run the school. It started in 2014. That's how they started it. Like it was basically to provide a better quality of education to the students around, but also it's more of a social work, if I would say, because very often we are the ones we are the ones running the school, because some students can't even afford to pay the fees for the school. And it's like right now it's at most $3 per month. Yes, and they still can't afford it. So I am quite involved there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Sometimes I pay the salary of some teachers or something like that, because we can't just stop the students from learning when they don't have money.
So, what sets Mamelasoa High School apart from other educational institutions?
Um, I would say it's the the higher quality of education. Like I wouldn't say it's very good, like excellent, but it's pretty good, because we only hire teachers who are qualified to teach. Most of the time, the schools around, um, like the private ones, um, most of the time they hire people who can just read, because at that time their salary will be low, and they will just use like the copybook of a student from last year, let's say, to teach at the school.
Wow.
Like sometimes you would find one teacher who would teach mathematics, physics, natural sciences, geography, and history at the same time, and then also French. One teacher. Uh,
Wow.
yeah. So something like that, and it doesn't help the students at all. Another thing is that we are also trying to. So one of my biggest projects for that school is to start a computer lab, and to also advance the language skills. But I was thinking that maybe um, we could also incorporate like other skills, um, for those who can't afford to to carry on with their schooling, like perhaps art or something like that. So that's still like future project, but the ongoing project now is the language. So now we provide free English classes, and because the aim is not is not to only teach the school kids from Mamelasoa High School, but it's really to develop the community. Um, so the language club, English club, is open to everybody who is interested in learning English. I mean, practicing at least like some basic English at least. If they are a little bit advanced, then they will go with me. If they are beginners, then they would go with my colleague there. So it's really open to everyone. Like in my group, for instance, I have people that I don't know, like there are engineers, and and there is I could see that there is another person from the coast, that I don't know. That I haven't met that person physically, but he is there. Yeah, so it's basically open, and it's free of charge.
So, would you explain to us what does the name Mamelasu mean?
So Mamelasu means you are. I think it means you are leaving good behind you, like you are leaving good things behind you. So it's like you are leaving a legacy or something. I don't know if that may explain it.
So, who are the students?
The students are the students around. Actually, actually, um, we have the students are scattered. Some students will go like 14 kilometers, like they will walk 14 kilometers to come to the school every day.
Wow. Wow.
And when I say 14K, it's not like it's climbing mountains, because the region is a bit mountainous. So it's climbing mountains in 40K every single day. Um, some students take the bus. They live a bit far, like Anzuma Keli. I don't know how far from. I don't really know how far from the school it is, but we also have students from there, and of course we have students from around the school, like in the community around the school. But some are really scattered. I think some of them are even like far away, even even like 18K or something away, and they do come to the school by walking.
So, can you explain to us a bit what is a non-profit school?
If we would say a not-profit organization or not-for-profit enterprise, so it's an enterprise or organization whereby, yes, there is money involved, right? But the money is used to the benefit
Mhm.
of the impacted, like who is impacted by the project that you are doing. Yes. So if it was for profit, then we would calculate, like let's say if I want to sell a banana, then if I want to sell bananas, then we would say, okay, how much are we going to buy the bananas, and how much are we going to price them, and how much will be the benefit. That is it if it's for profit. But not for profit, it will be like, let's buy bananas and share it with the people who are hungry, and then if or even not share, but still, like maybe sell it to the hungry, because if it's share, it's more of a charity. But if let's say, let's sell it at a price, a reasonable price that they can get it. But then, what are we going to use the money obtained from that to buy more bananas to share, to sell, like to sell to more people at a reasonable price? Yes. So that's how a not-profit organization works. But we don't calculate how much, we don't necessarily it's not necessarily benefit driven, like um, okay, if we want to get this amount of money, what's the strategy? How much are we going to charge, and so on and so forth. Of course, there is a little bit of accounting going on, but it's not necessarily the profit driven. It's not really profit driven.
Can you share a memorable experience or success story from your journey with Mamelasoa High School?
A lot of success stories. I would say last year. So last year I stayed in Madagascar for the whole year of 2023. There was a problem with the school back then because there was one of the teachers, didn't teach anything basically, and my parents didn't really know anything about what was going on, because you don't micromanage teachers per se. Yes, you look at what they are doing, but you don't micromanage them. And my father saw that, okay, there was something going on funny there. um and But the students will get like very good marks. But apparently the students didn't know anything. So that teacher got fired, and then I had to take over the teaching. When I took over the teaching, the students like literally knew nothing. Like nothing. If it was like a half plus a half, they didn't know. They didn't even know what a half plus a half was. And they were going to do the the final year exam, like of for high school. So I had to really, and it was, I think, around March or something. Final year exam is like July. And so I had to recover from the start, like I had to start all over. So if we were just looking at the level, like when I took over, I didn't have any hope that anybody in that class would succeed, right? But then we worked. They So I would always teach them anytime there is a free time, I am in. So and we gave free tutoring every Friday, every Saturday, right? So every Saturday they will have like tutoring for mathematics and physics. So I would do the mathematics, and my dad would do the physics. So it went on like that for like until the day of the exam. And and surprisingly, um 78, was it 78 students, 78 students out of 130 something, they succeeded. So that's a very good story. I would. So those are the rewards that we actually get when yeah, when teaching. It's not about the money per se, but it's how many students succeeded, and how did they find the exam, you know.
You are asking for a donation on our website. If people would like to donate, how can they do so, and what activities are you going to use the money for?
Um, okay. So yes, I was asking for donation. Um, so they can do it via. So there is an app called World Remit. Um, it so it can be linked to a mobile money in Madagascar. That's why we have mobile money, one of the options, I guess. It's called Orange Money, right? So they can do so. The money will get to the account. I'm still trying to set up like a proper bank account for the school because apparently, like my parents are old. They don't really know how to deal with that, so I'll have to do it because my siblings are also very busy. Um, but for now, it's my bank account, my banking detail that is on the website. Um, the money will be used to either as it can serve as like a sort of scholarships for the students who really can't afford fees. Um, so yes, the money will be used for that, but the money will it also depends on because it is written on the website that please put your reference. Which project would you like uh, to give? Like which project would you like to support, right? So if let's say you want to support the English club, then it's going to the English club. So it's going to like the money will be used for organizing organizing seminars, organizing visits to school, to centers, which we have done already, which we have done some time ago, last year, I guess, when I was present. um, and it will be used to perhaps buy books, but also like to buy materials for the students to be able to because some students want to attend, like let's say they are advanced now, they want to attend the online session with me, but then the problem would be that they won't have data to access the online platform, right? So the money will be used for that. If it's like for the computer science computer lab project, if that's what you want to support, then it will go for that. The money will be used for that, to buy computers, set them up for maintenance, and and the salary of the teacher, and yeah, that's how the money is going to be used.
So, how do you see Mamelasoa High School evolving in the next 5 years?
Ooh, I very good question. I would see it like within the next 5 years, for for sure, we are going to start the scientific curriculum, right? Because right now they only have one option to do literature, but I want to start it like this year because I am a scientist. It will be a shame that the school won't have like a scientific curriculum. um, and then for the English club, um, I will really try my best to advance that because they really do need the skills. And why we called it language laboratory is because we also want to incorporate French there. um, not only English. Yes. So we also want to incorporate French there, not only English. So I would really want to do that. And the computer lab, I I plan to do those things in the we plan actually. I think I am the person behind the planning. So that's why I always say I. Yeah. So I plan to have the computer lab there, and so that they can access like basic info, like basic computing skills, um, that I didn't have when I was a school kid. Like I didn't have that opportunity. Like the only time I really the first time I really interacted with a computer was when I was in South Africa, when I came to South Africa. So I just want to give them that opportunity to have those skills.
What advice do you have for those looking to establish a not for profit educational institution?
You have to be very patient. And you need to have a passion for it, because things don't always go the way you think it should go. And then the second thing is to be flexible. What I mean by flexible is, of course, like if you want to do something, if you want to advance something, then um, you need to be open to opportunities, open to discussions, open to partnership or something like that. Of course, you would need to look for like-minded people, which is pretty hard because most people are not profit driven. People don't really want to work. Um, I don't know, but most people, I would say, um, at least the ones I've met, um, people are just trying to to find their ways to get rich and richer and richer. And for them, it's a waste of time to do some social work.
Okay, thank you. So you already told us before, like what types of students can join the English club. Would you tell us why English learners or language learners should join a language laboratory or like an English club?
Um, we in Madagascar we do learn English in at school, right? We just we just write.
Hmm.
Um, but if for instance, like the student doesn't have the means to go further with their study, with their study, then they would have to drop out of school. At least if they are well equipped with languages, then at least like if they do a little bit of computing, or like a basic computing, then they would browse and they will find opportunities. So it like a language laboratory. The aim of the language laboratory is really to equip the students with those skills so that so that it opens door for them. Um, but also if they want to go, of course, if they want to study further, then that would be a very um, big plus for them, because they will have um, access to more resources, um, because they have different languages skills. Um, yeah, so that's the aim of the language laboratory. And to practice speaking, like networking is very important. I keep mentioning
Yeah.
that. And networking is very important. And sometimes people would judge you by the way you speak one specific language.
Oh, yeah.
like
There
like
is that too.
they would judge if you are professional or not professional at all. Yeah, so it's mainly to open doors for the students.
Okay, so walk us through one session at the English club. What happened in a specific session?
So in a specific session, like if it's like let's say we would learn about um, clothes today, okay? Then um, we would use all the vocabularies around clothes, like put your outfit on, or take it off, or what are you putting today? Is it a shirt or a t-shirt or something like that? And we would have like students presenting their outfit for today, and along with accessories like let's say glasses, earrings, bracelets, but we would also combine that with the colors, like what color is it? Is it a red skirt or a blue shirt? Or yeah, so that's like one session, and we would have like students presenting their outfit and accessories at the front. Um, yes, it's a speaking session, like it's a conversation, but we still use the board to write down the words that we are using. So they will be familiar with the pronunciation as well as how it's written.
And is it the same with the online version?
The online version would be like a normal conversation, and I would like, for instance, if somebody asks a question, then people would participate. If sometimes I post a topic that we are going to discuss about, right? So let's say I just put like a short story, then we will discuss around that story, like what is happening, or or yeah, basically that. And I've been encouraging them to actually use the microphone instead of typing messages, because at that time um, they would practice their pronunciation, and if there is any like mistake, then it gets corrected, so that they know that okay, this is how we say this.
Thank you so much for sharing all your experiences, and thank you for coming. It's time. It's the time where you share some words of wisdom or recommendation to our viewers.
Oh, I would say keep learning. There is no age for learning, because some people would get intimidated by their age. One anecdote is what that I can say is that my mom like after several years, she went back to school at the age of 50 or 51. And then she graduated with her master's at the age of 54. So imagine going back to school and then graduating with a master's at the age of 54. Um, I would say that's an achievement. And um, so keep learning, because um, and don't get stuck on a particular thing. Um, don't just, like, let's say, don't just focus on, let's say, mathematics. I believe that everybody has got talents, and you can improve your talent at the same time. You don't have to get stuck and force on one thing. um, you can, yes, learning at school, getting a degree, I would say it's very important, because if you are looking for a job, then they will look at your degree. But at the same time, don't suffocate your talents. um, you have a talent, make use of it and explore it, and let it grow. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you so much for this great opportunity.
Okay, thank you all for listening, and thank you, Ansa, for inviting me. It is a great pleasure.